Welcome to the Legacy of Love, the return of the Divine Cosmic Mother. And I'm your host, Sherry Lynn. And I'm so excited to announce my guest today, Godelieve Willer. She is a master at identifying and removing blocks to embodying your true nature and divine potential. Godelieve has the profound and magical ability to perceive consciousness, allowing her to discern how aligned we are with our higher selves and life purpose. As a multidimensional energy reader and seer, she acts as a bridge between dimensions to bring wisdom, deep healing, and activations to assist you to open up to your unique gifts to manifest here and now. She is passionate, a high-level teacher, and a mentor who puts you on an accelerated path to reclaiming your power and divinity. Welcome, Godelieve.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much, Sherry, for having me on this series. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and it's so exciting to have you here. I know you and I've met before, but just sort of like not really like had this chance to really connect heart to heart and soul to soul. And I was so looking forward to engaging in our conversation because even just some of the ideas that you generated in the offer that you're going to be bringing forward for people really resonates with me. And I feel like this is such a beautiful time for people to be starting to drop into more of our emotions, more of our feelings. And I see that that's something that you're very passionate about too. So would you like to go down that path with me and start engaging in that kind of a conversation?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, then I'm going to open that up to you. And I know that you had here, you said one of the potential things that we could talk about is discover why clairsentience has been less often discussed in the past, but now it's coming online for so many people.
Yeah.
Tell us
And
about
that's
that.
so beautiful, and so exciting to see. So, I mean, everyone's pretty familiar with clairvoyance, clairaudience, cognizance and things like that. And people, you're familiar with, oh, I went to see a clairvoyant, but how often do you hear someone say, I went to see a clairsentient, right? It's just traditionally up until now in the past, it's been very little understood. Clairsentience has been one of the most overlooked and least understood clairs. And I believe there's a couple reasons for that. One is there's like that carryover from the physical experience, and seeing is believing, right? So if I see it, then that's real. And so it's like we translate that into our spiritual psychic abilities when we want to, we want to see, because we have this idea that seeing is more real, right? So there's that. But the bigger reason is that in order to really activate your higher clairsentient abilities, there has to be an opening of the heart and a willingness to feel. Because after all, if you don't know, clairsentience is our ability to receive information through the mechanism of feeling, right? And I'll make some distinctions. It's not feeling emotions, that's empathy. That's another kind of component that's related to clairsentience, but really that's kind of like the lower level. And most people never activate that higher level of clairsentience. And part of that reason, just to go back, is because it takes bravery to make that decision to say, I want to open up and feel again. Because we all know, especially sensitive individuals, there's a lot out there that doesn't feel good, right? There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering that you can tap into. And so from a very early age, most of us, especially the highly sensitive ones, really struggle with keeping an open heart. Like when you're born, you're not shut down. You have a heart and a clairsentient channel system that's feeling. But starting from very early on, we realize, oh, that doesn't feel good. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Oh, that hurts. So you start shutting down and contorting and dampening your clairsentient abilities. Right. So then later as an adult to be, okay, I'm ready to open up my spiritual gifts and develop my intuition. Everyone goes to, the clairvoyance and things like that. But, oh, no, I don't want to feel anything. I just want to see it. I don't want to feel it. Right. So there's this tendency that I see across the board of people favoring the clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the telepathy, and everything like that, and living up in their claircognizance, for example, and not dropping down into the feeling centers and reopening them, because really that is your greatest gift. I really believe that clairsentience offers the richest details, the fullest insights and understanding of complex dynamics than any of the other clairs. And I say that coming from being a very highly clairvoyant and a seer, right? I'm very clairvoyant, and I've been a seer. My seership kicked in when I was so little.
Oh,
But my heart was shut down for the majority of my life. It was highly
mm,
open when I was young, began to close it down for the reasons I mentioned earlier. All kinds of trauma that I experienced had me kind of closed down again. And it wasn't until later in my adult years, when maybe we'll touch upon this, but the mother started visiting me
mm,
and started teaching me that my most powerful gift was my heart. Now, I didn't
mm,
understand that at all, right? I didn't understand what that meant at
mm.
all back then. I do now, right?
Go
Um,
more into detail. Like, yeah, no, let's not skip that because that's what this summit is all about, right? The connection, our connection with the Divine Mother, who is very much present
yeah,
and active for all of us if we can feel, like if we begin to allow ourselves to feel her, because she's
yeah.
not really outside of us, is she?
No, beautiful. Hmm.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
go
this,
into that.
yeah, it's not this abstract concept, like, oh, the mother out here, the divine
Hmm.
mother and those frequencies, it's a felt experience,
Right.
right? The divine mother and the divine feminine speaks through the language of feeling. I
Mm.
really want people to get that. Those frequencies, those energies are felt, right?
Oh, that.
So you can, yeah, and you can feel it now, I get
Mhm.
goosebumps. But you can develop your clairvoyance all you want, and you can see, but if you don't open up your feeling ability and allow those frequencies to come in and be felt, those frequencies
Mhm.
are transformative. They move you. You have to allow them to move you and to be felt, and skipping ahead a bit, but anchoring them in the body. That's
Right.
and that's where most sensitive individuals, especially,
Mhm.
are missing out on their greatest gift because they have a tendency to live outside of their bodies.
Exactly. Which is almost why I believe, like when we talk about our spiritual evolution, it really is. And I mentioned this before with somebody else too. It's an involution because we're all being invited to go within. And so when we go within, we can start to experience these subtle energies and start to pick up on our feeling body more and start to notice like, oh, wow, I was just hit with this big wave of love. Where did that come from? Until we become familiar with, all of a sudden, for me, like I wasn't like you. So many people grew up with an experience with the Divine Mother or the Divine Feminine or, whoever it is, guides and angels. I didn't, nothing, like a flatline. And when I went within, though, and I really was searching for something, I didn't know, because God was outside, and I didn't even know there was a Divine Mother. And
Hmm.
she is so beautiful. But all of us are only going to experience her from within. And each one of us is going to have a different experience. And
Yes.
so it's not something, like you can be a guide and you can help guide others towards that. But what you experience and what I experience and what somebody else experiences is going to be so unique and so beautiful and precious and loving and, all of these wonderful things that I love her. Like she is so beautiful. And I love that you're talking about our feelings and not running away. I had no idea empathy was on a lower level. I can't remember what you said,
Yeah.
but
Well, maybe
you,
lower is not the right word, but it's something that is like, for a lot of people, we think, oh, some people think, oh, that's quite a gift. It is, but it comes with the human body, right? And it's
right.
it's really like everyone is born feeling. Everyone
Hmm.
is born with empathy, with
Hmm.
empathic ability, right?
Hmm.
When I'm talking about clairsentience, I make a distinction between feeling emotions and all the other things that are available to feel, right? And so
Right.
that's why I like making a distinction, because people automatically think clairsentience is feeling emotions. Well, that's a
Hmm.
small part of it. But what about feeling the energy of the Divine Mother, or feeling the
Yeah.
energy of your guides around you, or
Right.
feeling your etheric body, or feeling what's
Mm.
happening in your field, right? Like that's not emotions. That's your. So there's so much more outside of,
Hmm.
so much more to clairsentience than just the emotional body, right?
Oh, I love beautiful. That's so beautiful. I love that because I've never really heard anybody say it that way before.
Mhm.
And I totally agree.
There's
Because
not too
yeah,
many
like
people talking about it. I think more and more there are now, just because there, to be honest, there's very few people who are highly open clairsentiently to be able
right,
to understand these concepts and talk about them,
right.
right?
And do you believe, because this is what I believe, when I first started, like for instance, when I took Reiki, I couldn't feel energy at first. It was my dad who came through and said, look into energy work, look into Reiki, she said, the medium said, through my dad, right? And when I did it, I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't. But there was just a real passion because I wanted this to be like a tribute to my father
Oh,
and have him with me. And so then all of a sudden, I remember feeling it from my hands, and then all of a sudden, feeling it from my heart, like the waves coming in, and then feeling it through my feet. And, it just kept growing. And now sometimes it's like a pulse, like the universe. It's like, whoa, there's this pulsation, like there is no separation. But that doesn't happen like in the blink of an, well, not for me anyway. I
no,
believe
for
it's
most
something,
people, no. Yeah,
yeah,
even
yeah,
myself, there was a process of reopening and reclaiming my gifts, right?
right.
And I had the, fortunate, I was, very guided to write things down into a journal every day, and I did studiously. And I was very observant of watching myself. Like I actually, as a child, was very aware of the shutting down of my gifts. So in a way,
Hmm.
that was a gift in itself. I was a witness. It wasn't entirely subconscious, right? And
Hmm.
then reopening myself and bringing them back online, right? We have
Right.
so much, and I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of this, talking with a lot of people on these topics, but in general, so everyone has some kind of trauma. And by trauma, it doesn't have to be like something extreme like child abuse or rape or anything like violence. It doesn't have to be that. Trauma could be simply not feeling seen by your mother and father. That could
Hmm.
create a trauma of not being good enough, right? Like there's
Right.
all kinds of trauma that begin to cloud and dampen our abilities, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
then one day you wake up in your midlife and you're like, well, I want to feel. And the first time you go in Reiki and you're like, I don't feel anything. It's like your body has largely turned off that stuff. Now, it's not
Hmm.
that it's not there, it's just not being accessible at the moment. And it's
Right.
about, one of the most profound teachings that, the mother started teaching me like 15, 20 years ago was on that, focusing on just undoing the layers of who I am not. And she kept telling me,
Hmm.
there's a lot of layers that aren't you, but you are underneath. And like,
Right.
again, I didn't understand these messages for so many years, whatever. But now I
Right.
totally do. We
Yeah.
have a lot of impressions and teachings and things we absorb from our parents and the people around us
Hmm.
and our environment. And we won't get into a lot of it today maybe, but there's everything from emotional traumas to
Hmm.
simple things like the brain is filtering out that information, because the brain is highly adaptable. And as you
Hmm.
move through life, if there's information that's coming in that doesn't seem to fit in this reality, it's not useful, it's not helpful, it's not pertinent, your brain just starts filtering it out, right?
Right.
Like your brain is constantly receiving and processing so much data, it will blow your mind. We
Right.
can't be consciously aware of all that. Like for example, the temperature in the room, or if you've got a hair
Right.
on your forehead and you go like this, or you sneeze, or like your body brain is operating all this, and we're
Yes.
only consciously aware of such a tiny fraction of information at any given time.
Right.
So, I also teach about retraining the brain. It's about something as simple as that, just getting to retrain your brain, make new neural pathways to start showing the brain, okay, this information now I want you to start funneling it into my conscious awareness.
Right. and probably bringing people more back into their body, embodied living, like soul embodied, making the distinction between our physical self versus our soul self that is going to continue with us in consciousness as we leave and transcend this body and take our consciousness with us, and we will embody another body at some point in time. And so the more we become aware that we are here to embody, not leave, not transcend. And like in sometimes people really like meditation and that, which is beautiful, but we're meant to take that and bring it back in, right? And so
Yes.
you help people begin to distinguish, help them begin to learn to recognize, oh, I've got many layers, the what we were talking about, the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body, noticing, and then clairsentience, noticing all of those feelings and senses, the
Yes.
senses coming online,
Yes.
noticing what's, well, we were talking about even the camera flickering on. Now it's settled down, thank goodness. But like, I don't know, because it picks up, right? Like electronics are a really good indicator. They're cool tool for picking up different vibrations and stuff like that, whether it's coming from me, or we were talking that I was just listening to a teaching on the Divine Mother, and she's very present right now. And so as we begin to become aware of the subtleties, the subtle energy that, and raise our vibration, right? Our frequency, so that we are more of that embodying the soul and higher consciousness, then we're
Mhm.
we're able to start to experience that um, on a soul level. We begin to become aware of the fact that we are the soul. And
Yeah.
you were talking about the heart, like I can't remember, the Divine Mother said something about like you're layer by layer. It's almost like we're this beautiful flower that is unfurling a petal at a time,
Yeah.
opening and opening and opening. And so we're not trying to get rid of anything. We're just trying to open ourselves up to who we really are on
Exactly.
that level.
Healing the heart, opening the heart, allowing
Yeah.
ourselves to receive the love, right?
Yeah,
It's a precious process. And you
it
touched
is.
on a lot of things there, and so much I would love to say. One is that piece that I love that you bring it up about making that distinction between you, the body, and you, the
Mhm.
multidimensional consciousness that being, right? And that's absolutely right. Something I love teaching. It's a really fun thing. I start with optimal grounding labs is what I call it, and it's a one-on-one, like, interactive scenario where I look at your alignment and I start getting you to feel the difference between you, the body, and you, the consciousness, and that is
Mhm.
you. And inevitably, it's one of the favorite things that people do in a program. Always do it at the beginning so they can start to, distinguish that, and it's super fun. But you can really start, and it's not that difficult. It's just that we're not taught this stuff in our culture, right? And not only are we not taught about it, it's just ignored. Like, we're never
Exactly.
even, it's never mentioned, so we never pay attention to it. So when someone begins to draw your attention to certain things, you're like, oh, and you're like, it's actually not that difficult to teach people to start feeling, not
Right.
thinking, but feeling the distinction of where their consciousness is in relation to their
Mhm.
physicality. But I love
Mhm.
what you said also about, you had said raising your vibration and, opening the heart. How I see it, and the importance of being in the body. What's happening now for all of us on this path? Like, so if you're listening to this interview, you're either waking up or you're already awake and you're taking the next steps, right? But all of you on
Mhm.
this path, it's about bringing your energy, your higher self frequencies, your true divine nature, your true essence into your body, anchoring it here in the physicality on the planet, and then
Mhm.
emanating that frequency out through your field. And this is what is changing the planet. This is what is going to make the shift for the planet.
Right.
it's an inside job, it's an inside game, right?
It
It's not
is.
like the angels are, can come and do it for us. That's why they're not, right? Because they're supporting, but it has to happen within physicality, and we are the boots on the ground, so to speak. We have the physical bodies, right?
Yeah.
So it's about opening up to our own divine essence. And
Yes.
that is what raises our vibration. It's bringing more of us here into our physical body,
Yeah.
grounding it in physical realm.
That's so beautiful.
It is a
And we
beautiful
are the
process.
boots. We
The
are
mother,
the
like,
boots.
15 years ago, was showing me all this. And I
Yeah.
knew nothing at that time. And like, I was like you, I didn't know there was a divine mother and divine father. I didn't
No.
know that. So I was just like, that was a crazy experience in especially the first year, learning all this. But, the message she is and the teachings she gave me were so profound. Um, that still, some of them I'm still unfolding and really going a level deeper, like, oh wow, I really get it now. And then six
Right.
months or a year, 2 years from now, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I get it even deeper now.
But you bring something up that's very important. I love that. You said that. Like, so we learn something and then our consciousness shifts. And when you can't unlearn something, like when there is that aha moment and moment of clarity, then it goes deeper. We bring it in even more and we embody it in even more, and it becomes like a part of who we are. But at first, it's almost just like some information coming in that we're trying to make sense of. And then it's like full integration and embodiment and then carrying it out. And so, yeah, it's like first us, then out.
Yes, exactly. I
Yeah,
love that you're just emphasizing that. So true. And it is about, or that does happen, the more so in my work with, especially, private clients and specific programs, like each class, I guide people into that higher state and allow for more opening for their higher presence to come in.
hmm,
And it's because I know the longer that you can hold that, it's more time for your cells to shift, integrate, and hold the light, if you want to say it simply, right?
hmm,
It's just like the analogy I use. Let's say you take a plant and you put it out in the sun for 5 seconds and then you take it out, right? How
hmm,
much time does it have to absorb and integrate and
hmm,
synthesize that
hmm.
energy? Not
Yeah,
time,
no,
not much, right?
no.
What if you take the plant and you stick it out for 8 hours? Then it has
Hmm,
time to ground and integrate and synthesize, right? And
hmm,
so it's the same with us. The more we can get ourselves into that, if you want to use the word vibration, where we're channeling our
hmm,
own higher self
hmm,
consciousness, our own higher energies, right?
hmm.
It starts to shift our body being. And so the
Right,
more we can do it, like you were saying, it begins to change you incrementally until
right.
eventually you reach a point where you don't have to consciously bring it in anymore. It's already there. It's
Ex-
assimilated into your body.
exactly. You are, and that's what they're saying, right? Like we have the opportunity of being, well, whatever you want, the Christ that I am being, presence, consciousness, or higher self consciousness. The more that, our light comes in, the more that we become all of that. And so it's, what I love about this journey, I think it gets to a point where all of a sudden you realize you're not trying to do anything anymore. It's more about like, who am I being? Like I'm allowing myself to be kind and loving and compassionate and gentle and just accepting and really looking at these experiences, which is why I love that both of us have been trained to, recognize a persona when it comes online, because it's not who we are, but we can look at it with compassionate eyes. And it's like, I'm on to you. I know that this is just a part. And
Mm.
this part has been playing something. And so, like, for all of us, we're all on this journey. And some people, it seems like some people are so much further along, but like that's the path that they're meant to be on. And the path that all of the viewers, like whoever is looking right now, you are on the path that you're meant to be on. And then someone like Godelieve, I was going to call you Michelle. God, Godelieve comes and she helps you recognize and tap into more of that. but you already have it within you. Like we have it within us. It's like these hidden facets or codes or whatever that it's in us.
Hmm.
We just need to become more aware. And so the more that we allow ourselves to become the soul embodied being, the spiritual, the holy and the sacred self,
Hmm.
the more that we get to recognize these things and they become activated within us.
Absolutely. We can absolutely draw forth certain energies and vibrational alignments.
Hmm.
Like let's talk about the divine mother frequencies, like
Let's
and divine
let's do
feminine,
that.
like love, unconditional love, compassion, nurturing,
Yeah.
patience. These are all divine feminine energies, and you can
Mm,
cultivate these energies within you. And just by getting into those vibrations of those alignments, those energetics, right? Those vibrations, right? Because those words carry vibrations. And I'm not talking about the words, it's what they represent. Oh, I hope Sherry's still there. Oh, you're still there. You just videos. Okay. I just want to make sure you're still
it
there.
turned off by itself. I don't know. It went off by itself. So I don't know where I went. I'm talking though. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, there you are.
Oh my gosh, my cameras. Anyway, keep talking.
Yeah.
So
So,
weird.
yeah, I was just saying that by getting into those vibrational alignments, you can attune, and then therefore it's easier to connect with the Divine Mother when you've already got your state, your vibrational alignment that is matching, closer matching to that of the Divine Mother, for example, right? So,
Hmm.
you're going to have a very different experience if you come home from work and you're stressed out and you're pissed off because whatever, and then you go, okay, Divine Mother, give me a message, right? Like versus if you get into that beautiful energy and you feel the love in your heart and you feel such great compassion for everything,
Right.
and then you ask Divine Mother, give me a message. You see how you're going to get
Yeah.
so different. It's like a totally different phone line you're picking up, right?
Well, do you even think, like, I honestly don't think you can even receive a message when you're too much in your mental mind and feeling that disconnection because it's going to come from the ego, I think,
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. Because there's no way for that message to get in, right?
Right.
And because we're talking about this topic and we talked about the divine feminine and speaking through the language of feeling, really. And those of us on the planet who are divine feminine in nature, like our makeup is divine feminine predominantly, it's that feeling ability is what is going to be the game changer for us for our ascension, right? Or even the next level. It's allowing ourselves to open into our true nature,
Right.
it's that feeling, allowing the feeling. So many people aren't committed to being in this life, though. They're not
Right.
fully in their bodies. They're waiting for
Right.
some solution to help them out of their pain, whatever it is in their life right now, or I want this, but I'm not there. But they're not fully committed. They're not fully in the body, right? And that's a
Right.
hard one. I struggled with that for most of my life, right? Do I
Well,
really want to be here? It's, you
yeah.
know,
But then you make that you said earlier that all of us are empaths, but I do believe that some of us were more aware of the fact that we were
yeah,
empaths and then recognizing that I used to think it was a gift and a curse.
yes, of course.
Both. It was
Yeah,
like I knew I was more sensitive and had a very open heart and loving nature towards people, and
yes,
people can feel that, right? Versus not. I recognize that a lot of people live from. It's almost like there's a wall,
oh,
an
there
armor.
absolutely is a wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and so some people said, yeah, no, I want to come here and be that compassionate, loving person all along, even though, so your heart's wide open and it's like, oh my gosh, that hurts and
Yes.
stuff. But I don't know that I ever shut it down completely. I feel like
No, you can't.
um
So this is, I
yeah,
have to interject here because I love this.
yes,
You
please
can't shut
do.
it down completely because that's why you came here.
Right.
So people like you, like, and me too. So I get all the time people come to me and they're like, I don't fit in. I don't feel like I belong. I've never felt like I belong. Right. And they're always highly sensitive people. And they're like, why is the world so harsh? Why I don't
Yeah.
understand humanity, like all these things. Right. And they're like, I just feel so different. And I just smile and I say, yes, to all of
You
that. You
are.
are different. You
Yeah.
don't belong, and
Yeah.
that's purposeful. You
Exactly.
came here
Right.
to bring your difference because it's
Right.
your difference that is going to make the difference in the shift of this planet.
Yeah. And I believe that a lot of the people that are going to be watching this program are the ones that are feeling that call to be that wave of people that are here, because not everybody is ready. A lot of people,
You know?
and that's okay.
Yes, it is
Right?
okay.
Like each one of us is at our own level for a reason. And but some of us are just here to our real mission is to truly just allow ourselves to go through this process
And to
and
be
not worry
ourselves
about what's outside, because we will impact what's outside by allowing ourselves to do the healing
and
and
to
recognize
be
and
who you
remembering.
are, right? And to be who you are. That's the
Right,
key. Just by
right,
you being who you are, it's
right,
affecting the morphic field of humanity,
right.
right?
And but that's key though too, right? Because so many people aren't comfortable being who they are.
Yes.
There's a
Yes.
lot of fear behind. And I, oh my goodness, I can so relate to, not feeling that a little bit of that resistance, I guess it is like feeling called to move forward, feeling the energy pulling you forward, but then it's like, oh, but that doesn't feel good when you don't get the
Fear.
response or whatever it is that you're hoping that the personal self is hoping to achieve. But that's part of it for all of us, is just to maybe lay down the expectations, lay down what we think it's supposed to be, because to experience ourselves as the soul, as the sacred, it, it's not the same as the personal journey.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's I know this so deeply, this, knowing that I need to step forth, but yet having all this fear and resistance, right?
Mhm.
And what I've been saying now for the last, years, you know, is that it's so funny. My whole life, I was trying to be someone who I'm not fit in, while knowing that
Mhm.
I'm very different, but trying to pretend like I'm, just so I can fit in and be accepted. Meanwhile,
Mhm.
what the world needed and what my purpose was to be all along was just to be that little girl that I was born to be. Just to,
Exactly.
because what I'm doing now is what I could have been doing when I was 5 years old. The concepts, I mean, obviously, you know what I mean, but it was all about the heart, all about
Yeah.
love. It was all about compassion. My dreams, my visions for the world, right? It was all of these beautiful things that we want to see in the world, right? But at
Right.
that time, I did not see, and this isn't like in my conversations with the mother a lot. I used to, when I look back on my old journals, I used to question all the time, but how is this possible? I don't see room for heart in the world. I don't see a
No.
place for this energy, right? And I was just told that yes, now is time. It's coming, right?
Mhm. And
And I
that's
do
why you're
see it.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's true. I see and I feel this energy on the planet. I always say the Divine Mother is on the move on the planet now, right?
She
It's not like
is.
she's coming, she's here, and she has anchored in to enough of us on the planet that it is
Mhm.
affecting real change. And you can see that the
Exactly.
hearts of humanity are opening. And now this isn't across the board, it's happening in pockets, right? Of
Right.
course. But
Right.
in general, the heart, our hearts are opening, and you see
Right.
that in trends. Like, for example, 100 years ago, animal rights didn't exist, right? Now we have
Mhm.
like university programs all about animal rights, and there's
Mhm.
organizations that are promoting justice and humane treatment of other all life on earth, right? And it's,
Mhm.
you see so much more compassion now. And I know it's hard to see that when you look at the standard news every day, because it's all you see is bad news and
Mhm.
tragedy and trauma. But I'm
Mhm.
telling you, there is this shift. And
Right.
yeah,
Right. Speaking of which, like I don't know about you, but I'm one that doesn't look at the news because
yeah,
I
I don't watch
really,
the news either.
yeah, I feel like that only feeds into the fear. I was just visiting my mom, and they were talking about everything that's going on, and I was like, no wonder I don't watch this, because I noticed myself going into this place of, wow, are people ever, like what's wrong with people and stuff. But So my job is to stay in my highest vibration of love and to
Yes.
be that and to spread that out to people. So sometimes we do have to disconnect from people. Sometimes we do have to disconnect from, you know, television and stuff like that. But it's a solo job. You know, each one of us gets to pick. Nobody chooses for us.
Mhm.
But I love that there's people like you who are helping people really learn to drop into their bodies, to recognize the feelings and to embrace that part of themselves, not just the feelings though, like you were talking about, is clairsentience is so much more. And see, as I start to talk about it, there goes the camera again. And it's honestly, it changed the directions. It did, like, it totally, I don't know what happened, but that's not how I had it set up. It's like, so, it's talking to us too, but helping people because it doesn't happen. Like for myself too, I took a lot of training. I took a lot of different things to begin to feel within my body because I was so disconnected.
Yeah.
So you help people, tell them how you help them. Let me know, like share with us a little bit about how do you help us figure out how to drop into our clairsentience and why is clairsentience so important? Why do we want to connect with this?
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, well, clairsentience, is the key to your ultimate guidance system. And this is what I've discovered through my own experience and through my experience working with other people. When, because like I said, I was clairvoyant and had my seership, since I was very young. I know what it's like to see and, highly, telepathic and clairaudient and highly claircognizant. And then also in taste and, smell, like, so lots
Wow.
of, there's so much more than four clairs. But, it wasn't until I started unlocking my clairsentience, going deep into the heart, healing the wounds of the heart, taking that brave decision to feel, right?
Mhm,
Was like this paradox on the other side of that. It's like, whoa, this miraculous gift opens up, right?
mhm,
And imagine, you know, in terms of what I mean by the ultimate guidance system, I mean like the highest level of your intuition, right?
mhm,
If you can
mhm,
feel, for example, if you've got decision or a choice A or B, you can literally feel into which one and get all these kinds of information and quality of what is down that path versus what's down the path B, right?
mhm.
You can't get all of that just by seeing, right? Same,
Right.
you get a message from your higher self or divine mother. You
Mhm,
can get words, let's say, but if you're not opening your heart, like how are you, when you open the heart and you allow yourself to feel, you allow yourself to be transfigured, to be moved, right?
mm, yeah.
Literally our body is this amazing vehicle and tool that we are, so little people, so few people are really taking advantage of the amazing higher abilities that it has, right?
Mm,
So clairsentience is so key, and I could talk for hours about this, but even, there's this phrase, words can lie but vibration can't, right? So even
exactly.
day to day, in terms of helping your day to day life, like someone can lie to
Mhm,
you, but if you have a completely closed down clairsentient channel, you won't know that they're lying to you. But people who have
exactly.
activated that part of their clairsentience, they feel the little glitch when somebody's lying.
Right.
Like you can literally feel what there's a lie there, right? You can feel
Yeah,
it, right? So
yeah,
that's also a part of your clairsentience. There are
right.
so many levels and layers of
Mhm,
your clairsentient ability. And humanity up until now has really not accessed the higher ones at all because the heart has been the barrier, the closed heart. You need to activate, to open the heart center in order to start accessing these higher levels of your clairsentient ability. And it's not just your clairsentient, it's all of the clairs start opening up as you tap into the magic and technology of the heart center. Yeah.
I love that. That's so beautiful. The thing, and you said it too. I've heard that expression before too. Behind our greatest fear lies our greatest gift.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is a treasure, right?
It's so
And so when we're willing to go there. And I even remember when I took some training with like I was taking some stuff with Deborah King, and she said that um it's one thing to see and to hear, to get receive messages and stuff, but the real guidance comes in when you can feel it, because that's always accurate. Seeing,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to interpret, or even hearing, it's like, what does that mean? Like, sometimes I can see, but not always. And that's not meant to be my primary thing anyway. But when I do, it doesn't, it's like, I don't know what that was about. I have no idea what that means. But feeling, like when you receive a message and your whole body animates because it's like,
Yeah.
wow, that was truth. Pay attention.
Hmm.
That's beautiful, right? And so
Yes.
you help people get to that. I can help you begin. And it's a journey. Like it might take them a bit of time, but they have the tools. They get to learn from you how this is done and be able to tell me a little bit more about that too. Because I
Yeah.
know it's part of your offer, which is so beautiful. And I know you're working on it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Because one thing
It's
people
pretty,
don't know is that
yeah.
we filmed this earlier, and so it's a work in progress, but your intention is to help everybody have that experience of being what it's like to be clairsentient and to feel into that. And so, do you want me to pull that up? Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah,
What would you
we
like
can
to
just
do?
talk about it. Because I already have I already know what I'm gonna offer and like the components of it, because certain things I just feel like, have to be there. And so one of them is, the grounding laps, because the one-on-one assistance is so powerful, right? When
Mhm.
someone, especially because at first people are like, wow, I can't believe you know that or can feel that or can see that, right?
Mhm,
Because I
mhm.
feel what you feel. So I can see, okay, when I ask you to ground, you're having trouble. You're getting to your feet and then you're stuck. And they're like, oh, how do you know that? Right.
Yeah.
But I can work with someone and get them, like connect with them and guide them to like ground. And grounding, when I say optimal grounding, it's not just grounding into the earth. There's more to that.
Mhm,
But I get
mhm,
them feeling. And this is important because, so we talked about being in the body, right?
mhm.
So many people, when they do a grounding exercise, right? If someone tells them, okay, ground into Mother Earth, they send all their energy down. They just
Right,
go right there,
right,
right? And
right.
then whoop,
Well,
they pop back out and they're not
right.
grounded. Grounding isn't sending all of your energy down into the earth.
Yeah.
Grounding is staying in your body and
Mhm,
extending a connection to the center of the
mhm,
earth, to garner that stability and that support and nurturing
mhm.
energy from the Mother Earth. So it's just one component. So when people feel the difference of, oh, I actually feel the difference of when I was not in my body and now I'm back in my body, and I get them
Right.
to move again, and I direct them, and they, by the end, they're like, wow, I really feel now when I'm in
Yeah,
my body and when I'm not, and what it feels
right,
like to be anchored above and below. And
right,
for everyone, it's different, actually. Some people, like, I'm
right.
very guided, and some people, optimal grounding looks different for them. Some
Mhm,
people, for to be optimally grounded, there's a connection line moving horizontally through their body, or there's
mhm.
something else that I'm being guided to bring in or show them, right? So
That's so cool.
it's fun. I love working one on one with people. It is a big shift when you can start to distinguish your energy and what it feels like to bring your energy into your body. So that's kind of like, I think, a really key first step when
Mhm.
opening up and activating, awakening your clairsentience, is just getting to feel the difference between your physical body and you as that multidimensional consciousness, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes like that's I remember like doing some training before where I would have to bring my awareness into my body, and I couldn't
Yeah.
feel that part of myself. Like I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was so disconnected. I was very much mental mind, and that's where that's the only thing I knew. So, I mean, it is an unfolding. It's almost like, mothers, we're talking about the Divine Mother and being so loving and so gentle and compassionate and nurturing. This is what we need to do for ourselves. And this is
Yes.
why the Divine Mother is actually within us, helping us form that connection within ourselves, that gentle, nurturing, loving, kind, compassionate, everything for
Creator.
within. And so, feeling her too. So, like you can help people begin to feel so that we can feel our connection with whoever we're drawn to. It
Yeah.
might be somebody else, within the divine feminine or whoever it is, the guides or whatever, but our higher self,
Yeah.
you
And just
know?
to distinguish, make that clarification for everyone. Everyone has divine feminine component within them, right? We both have masculine, feminine
Right,
energy within
right,
us.
right,
And connecting into all those qualities, the love, the compassion, right? The patience, the gentleness, the creativeness, right?
right,
The
right,
desire to express, right? Look at all the creative musicians, right? Like male musicians, they are in their divine feminine when they're writing their songs, when they're singing, like, right? Like this is the divine feminine aspect, right?
right. Exactly. And so but that's, I think, maybe what I was trying to get at, but not really saying it that way. But because we've been so disconnected from that and unaware, not only disconnected, but unaware of the difference between the masculine and the feminine energies within. And really truly, when they are fully embodied, they are divine energies within. They're and we can all access different because it is all energy. We're all energy. And so the divine mother, what does she feel like for you when you notice her within you? What
Hmm.
does another example would be Mary Magdalene or
Yeah.
Magdalena,
Yeah.
you know what does she feel like when she's within you? And
Hmm.
just noticing, sitting with it and being present to the shift.
Hmm. Yeah, so that comes with cultivating awareness on different levels. So the first thing that I start with people is cultivating subtle body awareness, like your physical body. We are so
Hmm.
trained to ignore that aspect that, yeah, when all of a
Hmm.
sudden you sit down and, oh, I want to feel what Mother Mary feels like, and you're like, I don't feel anything, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's different layers to cultivate, and one of
Right.
the first layers I start with is the body. So
Hmm.
can you feel the surface of your skin? Can you feel your
Hmm.
heart beating within you? Because it's this giant organ beating in your chest, and most people can't feel it, right?
I know.
But eventually you can. It's just about
Right.
getting quieter, focusing your attention, right?
Hmm.
Retraining the brain. So there's that awareness, and then you move out from there. So your etheric body awareness,
Hmm.
feeling on the etheric level, and then you can just increase, from there. And then it's, feeling vibrational alignments, feeling what does compassion feel like in my body? When I bring that into my
Hmm.
body, what does it do to my body? And or if you bring in a vibration like royal or regal, what does that do to
Hmm.
your body? Do you feel like your posture wants to, you just want to sit a
Hmm.
little bit higher? Like, like playing with vibrations within the body and how that affects you, right? So that's all a part of beginning to become aware of subtle changes and shifts that happen in your body and in your field, right? So that's
Yeah.
important.
I love that you do that. I really do, because even with some of my stuff and working with energy, I wasn't taught that.
No, yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
Is it- You know, Another thing I want to mention too, that this is going to be for a lot of people that are in their minds, they want the information. They don't want the experience.
Mhm.
But yours is more of experiential and some information, but it has to be the opposite for us to be able to drop into the clairsentient gifts that we all have.
100%. Yeah, for sure. My programs that deal with clairsentience, like this one, I'll be offering the awakening or awaken your clairsentience. I mean, how could I teach a program on clairsentience and just have it all mental information, not experiential? So
You
this is
can't.
it's a flip. This is a
Yes.
highly hands-on, practice oriented with lots of one-on-one assistance. It's an experiential program,
Hmm.
getting you in your body, getting you
Yeah.
starting to feel things.
Hmm.
That's very important to me. I mean, that really is my greatest joy, is helping
Hmm.
others begin to open up and feel the way the mother guided me to open up and begin to feel and begin to realize. Then, it's my greatest joy to see, the people I work with then start to realize, wow, how powerful they are, how amazing
Mm.
the gift of feeling is. And it just opens up a whole new world. It really does.
It sure does. It really, really, truly, and that's what we're experiencing now. And so this is why we're on this call today. This is why we're honoring the Divine Mother and recognizing the legacy of love and, that she is with us. But so for those of you that are still very much in your mental mind, something like what Michelle, there I go again. Godly, you used to go by Michelle, didn't
It's
you?
my middle name,
I'm
and
so
so on
okay.
Facebook it gives my whole name. That's why.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry,
That's
but that's
okay.
what came out. But that's why you're offering it. And by the way, I want to let you know that those that I'm in training with right now that are decided to enroll with you and work with you, they have the most beautiful things to say about you. And I was literally like, why didn't I do that? You know, and so they can feel you and they're excited. And I could feel that. I could feel there, speaking of feeling. And so, it's not so much about the words, because the words, like, they can be misleading because they're not always true, right?
Mhm.
We're not always speaking authentically and stuff like that. But when somebody is speaking from their heart and speaking from their truth, you can feel it. And this is what you're
Yes.
helping people get
100% you can
to.
feel heart energy. You can feel
Right.
when someone is speaking their truth, is coming from an aligned heart-mind connection. You
Mhm.
absolutely can feel that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so beautiful. So beautiful. So yeah, is there anything like Michelle, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Godly.
That's okay. You can just say, "Hey, you." No, for some people,
No, you're not.
Godelieve
Hey, you.
is difficult to pronounce, so I get it.
No, I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But this is, and I really truly do apologize because this is a sacred conversation. And so there is a part of me that just wants to keep calling you that. And I apologize for that.
That's
And I
okay.
don't know why. Um, but what I wanted to go to is like all of us, when you get to the deeper level of who you are, the one that's allowing the Divine Mother to flow through you and to help inspire people and provide wisdom and guidance, allowing us to really experience ourselves as the soul, as the sacred. What's the message that the Divine Mother has that you can feel that wants to come through you, be expressed through you, and for all of us to receive?
Yeah, so that's so beautiful. I love how you say that because I picked just really quickly a quote from one of my journals in August of 2011. Um, about uh, about this, and it was, "Behold the beauty of the mother within you. For you and she are one. You are her expression on the earth right now." And so
Mm,
that's happening to so many people now. The mother
I
is
can feel
starting to
that.
move within us and open our hearts up. And
Mhm.
just like you mentioned several times in our talk today, that she is within us, right?
Yeah.
And the other part, coincidentally, I didn't even know you were going to ask that, but this other quote, because I started in my journey, started in feeling this as I was opening my heart, incredible love, right? And
Hmm.
would tell me what this love that is within you is capable of, you are not able to comprehend or imagine at this time. You will gradually begin to understand more and more rapidly as you shed the layers of who you are not, right? So I mentioned
Oh,
earlier, but yeah, she just reminded me because I was, back then I was like, okay, so I love. What's that going to do, right? Okay, so I'm opening my heart. What am I, right? But she
right.
just kept reminding me constantly through more than a decade and a half, right? You don't understand yet the power of your heart. You don't understand yet the power of your love, but you will. And it's only been in the last really like five-ish 6 years that I'm
Hmm.
like, oh wow, I see this now.
Yeah.
Power
Yeah.
of our hearts, the power
Yeah.
of love. It's
Hmm.
all like jaw dropping. I'm, rendered
Yeah.
speechless sometimes when
It,
I witness what I witness. And
I
I
know.
witness a lot, like even in the work with my private clients and the participants in my programs. Like stuff that took me, months and months and years to get
Hmm.
and to
Hmm.
transform, they're shifting so fast. They're shifting in days
Hmm.
or a week. And I'm just like in
Hmm.
awe. And actually, a week or two ago, I had a session with a client. I got emotional, even tears coming down my eyes because I'm blown away at like how quickly people are shifting now, bringing
Right.
in this incredible energy
Yeah.
and being able to hold it. And for
Yeah.
me, it took me years to be able to hold it, you know?
Right.
I had
But
so much
that's,
trauma and baggage and resistance
yeah,
to work through, you know?
but that's also in credit to you and to people like you who have been doing the inner work and making that vibration more available for people. And that's sort of what happens. That's why they say that when we work on healing ourselves, our only responsibility is on ourselves, healing ourselves, because then it literally is a wave and a ripple out to others
Yeah.
who are ready to embody that and
Yep.
receive that.
It
And
creates
so
a
one by
template.
one,
Yeah.
we do,
Mhm.
so you doing your work since you've been little and then sort of getting away for a bit and then coming back to it because you can't that longing, that desire, that's placed in all of us for a reason so that we do go seeking our own divinity, our own expression of our truth of the soul of and experiencing ourselves more consciously in this lifetime because there's been so many like people like our parents. I don't know if your parents are still here, but my mother is here with me, and she's not into this, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
okay.
Mhm.
And a lot of people aren't going to be because
Yeah.
that's not the path, right?
Mhm.
But the key is that when we come at anybody from our heart, they're going to feel that, and they're going to know that, and it's going to be, I'm okay who I am. And
Yes.
that brings tears to my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yes. Because that is a beautiful healing, because that's the core wound that almost everyone has, that I'm not okay the way I am.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
we all are because that wound was placed there for a reason. Ugh.
So beautiful.
And see, I didn't mean to cry either, but it's so true
It's so
because when
beautiful, and
we
this is what
get
happens,
it,
for everyone listening, this is to be expected. The more you open your heart, there's gonna be tears, and there's gonna be tears of release, tears of, grief that is leaving, but also tears of joy. I've had
yeah.
more tears of joy than I
Oh,
could possibly imagine on this path, like
I
just the
know.
blessings and the energy of the Divine Mother is so sacred. Sometimes just
Yeah.
her presence coming in just is so humbling and so sacred.
Yeah.
Um, that it starts, to reverberate the heart, just presence, right?
It brings tears. Yeah, I know. I know that is the great heart unfolding and unfurling. And I think it's never done. I don't think we stop. I
Mhm.
think this is part of our experiences once it starts to soften or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Something happens where that level of our energy is open and our field is open to receive more of that. Because at first we're so shut down and so many layers of trauma, like you were saying, and of different experiences and other people's belief systems and our programming and all of that binds us, that keeps we limit ourselves
Mhm.
until we decide. And that's why this is a free will experience, is that, and in a sense it really we could go down another rabbit hole, but maybe we won't because our experiences are based on our energy, right? And so the vibration that we're putting out brings the experiences to us. So if we are tired of being trapped in the same old things, well, it's important that we understand that we are the creator,
Yes,
that we are
absolutely.
one with creator, that we are creating our experience, that we are not separate from creator. And so the
So,
divine mother is so beautiful because I don't know. I think so many of us are healing from that wound of being separate, not even knowing that she really even
yes.
existed other than Mother Mary. And she's beautiful too, because I didn't even realize her power.
Yeah. The divine feminine has been suppressed for so long, on the planet. But now, it's returning. right? And it
Yeah.
has returned, right? That
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
And that is so, so beautiful. It's, what I refer to as, the greatest love story ever, the
It
return
is.
of
And
love,
it's
right?
your own love story.
Yes.
I
Hmm.
love that you've been documenting and writing things down, and the two passages or quotes that you shared is so beautiful. I have to go back and listen and write them down, and I maybe should create a quote based on what you
Yeah.
shared, because that
Yeah.
was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's
And at the time I had no idea what it meant. Right. And
yeah,
so it would just
yeah,
constantly repeat, like, over months and years, the same message, but in different ways to help get through to me to
right,
understand, right? And to
right,
start to
right,
honor my own divine feminine, start to honor my own heart, right? Because I
yeah,
wasn't honoring my own heart, right?
yeah,
I saw it as a source of pain. Like, why am I
right,
so sensitive? Why is everyone else, can walk around being fine, and I walk around, I'm constantly hurting and feeling pain and discomfort, right?
mhm, mhm,
Um, but yeah, it was opening up to the realization of what she was sharing with me. It took a long
right.
time.
And that's so beautiful. And that's just it. If we would stop running from the pain, we would see that the pain actually is a sacred uh, messenger almost. It's
Yeah,
like leading us back home.
yeah.
It's leading us to our truth.
Yes.
And
Yeah, and one
so,
takeaway around this, just to emphasize for everyone, is if you are sensitive and if you do find that, there's a lot of pain and discomfort, I want you to know that, you were built differently for a reason. You came in to
right,
help change and shift, right? You're part of this
right,
new trajectory, this new human we're heading towards.
right.
So that's important. You don't want to shut it down. That's your greatest gift. When I
Exactly.
see into the future, can you imagine a world where everyone was open hearted and everyone was so sensitive? There literally would be no more acts of cruelty, no more
Mhm,
war, no more transgressions, because the mere thought of hurting another would instantly hurt you first. So you can
mhm,
never hurt anyone, right? There
mhm.
wouldn't be any abuse or cruelty,
Yeah, I
right? And
believe
so,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. I think we're
if the world,
witnessing it
we're
in
all
animals.
sensitive. Imagine the world
Sorry.
would shift overnight, right?
Yeah. You know who I think we're witnessing it in already is animals,
Oh yeah.
where you see animals that would very unlikely, that they're taking care of each other and they're not like we're seeing the animals
Animals are
are
shifting
showing
too very
us.
much. And also they're shifting their reactions to you. So you see more and more uh, animals trusting humans and the humans being shocked, right? And you can see this all over YouTube, right? But
Right.
as we um, advance and open our beautiful hearts, it's
Hmm.
noticeable all around that can
Right.
see, for those who have eyes to see. Animals
Yeah.
can see our fields, they see our heart energy. So do the
Yeah.
plants. So do all the other unseen round beings, right? The elementals, they see us. We don't necessarily, not all humans see the energy fields and the heart centers of others, but they do. We're the minority
Exactly.
here not seeing, right?
I know.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
become less threatening, right? When we
Right.
open our hearts. So you can
Yeah.
absolutely expect to have more amazing, beautiful experiences with other species as you begin to become more heart centered and
Right.
opening your
That-
heart.
So there's nothing but good stuff, So it's like, let's turn off the TV. Let's tune in to more programs like what New Earth One offers and the Academy for the Soul, and tune in and find teachers like yourself if people resonate, which I'm sure they're going to, because we do need teachers. Like even at where I am still too is like I need somebody guiding me
Yeah, we all
that I
do.
trust.
Yeah, everyone has a unique piece of the puzzle, right? And there's
Hmm.
so much, right?
Right.
So everyone is needed. And I used to think, I used to say, well, there's other people doing, helping people with their, spiritual gifts and things like that. But no, everyone has a unique angle, and there's someone who learns in a specific way or needs something that only you have, right?
Exactly.
Or you teach something in a way that is the way they'll get, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, we're all needed right now.
Which is the beautiful part about the new earth energies that everybody talks about, is that we see that everybody contributes and that we are all a piece of the puzzle. And it's funny that you brought that up, because I was thinking about that today too, is that each one of us is a unique piece to this puzzle, and it is all, we're a masterpiece. We are just as we need to be. And so it's tapping into, who am I really? Because
Yeah,
you may not be who you are really been created to be, until you allow yourself to go through that transformation, the healing, the
absolutely. And
journey
you
that
will,
we're all on.
guaranteed, you will absolutely be different. Maybe not
Yes.
completely, but you will shift, whether it's
Oh,
your
you
friends,
do.
your hobbies, your habits, your inclinations. That is going to shift, because your
Yeah.
personality, so diving into a whole other topic, is, what we incur as we grow up,
Right.
um but when we strip away who we are not, all the
Yeah.
little things that we've, taken on, you're left
Hmm.
with your true essence, who you really are,
Which is
right?
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
And
beautiful
no matter
process.
what, whether we do it willingly or unwillingly, especially right now as we're doing this shift, more people are going to feel that discomfort if they don't do it willingly. Anyways, it's going to happen no matter what, at
Yeah,
some point,
so I love that you mentioned that, because one thing I teach, because is owning your space, and the concept of building a container and owning
Mhm,
your space. And that I was very guided to begin teaching that, because of all the transformation happening on the planet and the turmoil, right? And
mhm,
is really affecting people. But if you can learn how to anchor in your field, own your space, you have a
mhm,
buffer against these energies that are lower vibrational, that can knock you off balance, right?
mhm.
So that is a core thing, that I teach, is beginning to own your space,
Good.
so that you distinguish between what's your energy and what's not your energy.
Very important. So is
Yes.
there anything else that we missed before we come to a close, that's part of your offer that you want people to know? Just so that
Oh,
I honor that for
thank
you.
you. Maybe just a couple of things. One thing that is a lot of fun is that I do this exercise, assessment exercise with you, to determine your currently active scope of your clairsentient ability. And this, is really fascinating. So I discuss markers, I break it down into sections, but this is when people are really like, wow, wow, like this is what's possible with clairsentience. And even they'll be like, oh my gosh, I experienced this once. Like, I didn't even know I was tapping into that. Or they start to see, one, how their own clairsentience has been active in their life, which parts of their clairsentience, and then also what is possible. And that is always fascinating, always gets so many wows, and like, that is truly fascinating. So that's fun. The optimal grounding is great, the teaching module. So I do teach you what exactly is clairsentience, what is entailed, what is subtle energy, how to know when this information is coming through your clairsentient channels. Also, a really important teaching module is learning to understand why some people feel so much and why others
Mhm,
don't. So why you think that you don't feel, or why you feel like you don't feel anything. And so I go deep into, early childhood development, things that have happened
mhm,
into your life that have caused you to shut down or block your abilities. And more
mhm.
importantly, the process of unblocking and dissolving and healing that resistance, so that because I really always say, it's not that you're not clairsentient or not clairvoyant or whatever, it's that you're not accessing, but you do have that underlying ability. It comes with a body. So we
Right,
have these underlying abilities, but we just don't use them in our life. We shut them down, etc. So I
right.
teach people how to remove the blockages to open up access to their inherent structure, right? Their inherent
Mm,
abilities. And then one thing that's really important that I'm going to include in this, I decided to include, was a personal live reading, energy scan, and a live reading for everyone to identify their number one block, blocking their clairsentient ability right now. And then,
mhm.
of course, we will do a workshop to powerfully clear that block and do an upgrade on your energy. So yeah, I guess that's just wanted to highlight those key pieces.
Mhm. That's beautiful. That really is beautiful. And again, I know that I mean, I haven't personally experienced it, but I do know the few people that have been talking about your work, and they just absolutely love it. And it's even sometimes falls into a call where we're supposed to be meeting for something else that we're in, and they're like, well, no, we got to meet with we've got to do this. And so they look forward to it. And
That's
that's
awesome.
beautiful. That's beautiful. And I do believe that's how the Divine Mother expresses through you, so that people can begin to feel her on their own at some point. But first, it is allowing ourselves to go through, like not expecting, it does take a little bit of time, but intention too, right? Like, this is what I really want. I want to be able to connect with my subtle body. I want to be able to connect with almost it's the soul,
Yes. Yes.
right?
And you touch on something, intention, and this I see all the time. People, I want to be able to, I took your course, I want to be able to start feeling my guides or whatever. And and I've asked, how's your practice going? Like, and they're like, what practice? I'm like, well, have you
Yeah,
have you tried to feel your guides? um Not really, no. Like,
yeah,
so it's like, you want something, but you're not taking that step. So then, I
exactly.
help them identify what's that part of you that has been preventing you from even practicing or trying to, right? So
Yes,
there's something in the way there, right? So
yes,
that's something that has always come really natural to me when I see when something is in the way.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
so
beautiful.
yeah,
Well, I know that you are such a beautiful and sacred soul, and I truly, truly, truly thank you for this sacred conversation. I am so sorry. I don't know why I kept calling you
very
that,
so
but
fine.
it's just like
I'll look
I
into
have.
it. Might be a message for me. So
It's like, wow. Anyway, you were so beautiful, and I love you. And I thank you for bringing the Divine Mother through today and touching our hearts and allowing us to feel her in you.
so beautiful.
It is beautiful. And again, tears want to come again because it's so true. It's true. If we could just let our mind rest for a bit and
Yeah,
drop into our heart. And I love that that's what you're helping people do.
so beautiful.
So that is a sacred gift.
Yeah. You are a sacred
So
gift too, and all the work that you're doing. And
thank you.
so
Thank
much
you.
gratitude and appreciation for you for hosting these calls. And I had a feeling that you probably picked this theme, so that is so beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
Mother
Yeah.
definitely working through you.
She is, and that's the thing is, it's never too late for people that are like me, like in my 50s, and all of a sudden the Divine Mother's coming through, and it's like, never in a million years would I have thought that would be an experience I would even be seeking. But obviously, there was a part of me that was. And once I laid the personality down, the personal self down, it allowed my soul to come through.
Yes,
My soul was my guide. That was my guide.
so
I
beautiful.
wasn't looking for guidance outside of me. It was like really just going for the divine within me, that my own inner divinity. And that was the only experience I wanted.
That is
And
the most
so,
powerful. Your
yeah,
own your own higher self, your own higher consciousness, right?
yeah, yeah. And there is a something within us that knows this, though.
Yes.
And even
Yeah.
Crystal teaches that too, is like, go to your higher self, let everything go through your higher self, be
Yes.
filtered through your higher self, because, but I'm not going to start to open this up, but, I just want you to know I felt her in you. And
Oh, that really means
it's
a
so
lot to
beautiful. And you are
me.
beautiful.
So
And,
beautiful.
and thank you for helping people get home.
Oh, I love that expression. I use that expression too. And it is about remembering. We do know this. As we start
Mm.
to connect up the dots, so to speak, we begin to remember who we are. And it's remember and remember. We're putting ourselves back together
Right.
on the journey home.
And that is it. We're journeying home to the sacred that we are. So anyway, I send you love, and I send everybody who is watching this love, peace, and blessings. And I forgot to acknowledge New Earth One Network, and thank you for allowing this series and hosting it and bringing all these beautiful speakers on.
Such a beautiful topic and theme. Yeah, thank you so
Yes,
much. Thanks for everyone
yes,
listening this long. Thank you so much, Sherry.
yes. You
Thanks.
are so welcome. Bye for now,
Bye
everyone.
for now. Mwah.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.